We've implemented everything that we needed for the requirements of version 2 of the RPS project tracker. All functionality is there. However, the current theme that we're using, the Kendo UI default theme, which looks very nice, doesn't quite match our existing Bootstrap theme. Kendo UI for Vue comes with 3 different themes right out of the box, and we can build our own theme as well. So in this chapter, we're going to look at some styling options, including theming, the theme builder, and icons. In this lesson, we're going to change the theme of our application. If we go to the Kendo UI documentation, and let's go down here, take a look at buttons, just as an example. Here you'll see a live preview of the buttons and the default theme being applied. All the components in the documentation have the theme applied, and you can select the theme dynamically right over here from this dropdown. If we select the Bootstrap theme, let's say the main one, now all the components will be using the Bootstrap theme instead of the Kendo default theme. You can see the example with buttons here, and also you have the material theme available. If I select that one, all our components will now use the material theme. So that's how this theme picker affects the documentation and the live preview of all the components. The themes in this dropdown all come with Kendo UI, and you can easily change the theme of your application to any of these just by using the appropriate package. Now, our own RPS tracker application is currently using the default theme. It's pretty clear that on the backlog page, there's the orange primary color that's part of the default theme, and it's used in the sorter here, as well as the pager in the grid. And if we go to the details page, you'll see the tab strip using the default theme, and also the drop-down selected items is using that orange color, and so on. It looks very nice, but it doesn't quite match the Bootstrap theme that we've selected to use for this application. So let's quickly make an update and change the theme of all the components all at once. In the documentation again, let's go to Styling and Themes, and we want the Bootstrap theme, so let's go over there, and let's go to Overview. This will tell you how to install the Bootstrap theme and even give you the command. So I'm going to copy this code, and back at the terminal, I'm going to terminate my process, Control-C, and run that command to install that package. And once that's installed, I'm going to restart my dev server. Let's head over to the code and just do a quick check to make sure that package was installed. Here we are. You can see that we now have both themes installed, the Kendo theme default and the Kendo theme Bootstrap. How do we use it? Well, we already turned on the Kendo theme default back in main. This is the bootstrapping file. We did this at the beginning of this course. Turning on the Bootstrap theme is as simple as just importing Kendo theme Bootstrap. And as soon as I do that, you'll see that now all our components are using the Bootstrap theme instead. Go to backlog page, you'll see that we have that default Bootstrap blue color. All our buttons are more rounded, and the tabs look like Bootstrap tabs, which matches our application a little bit better. Now, what if your organization wasn't using the Kendo default or the Bootstrap theme? Well, let's have a look at the next lesson where I'll show you how we can define our own custom theme. So we've seen how our application looks with a default theme and with the Bootstrap theme. Now, if your organization has some other requirements for theming, for example, if you have your own colors or styles, you might want to create your own theme. So back on the documentation site, let's go to native components, and we'll go back to buttons. That's a familiar place because each one of these demo screens has this theme dropdown. And the theme dropdown has themes you can select, but it also has this button called Launch Theme Builder. Let's click on that, and this will take us to the SaaS Theme Builder. You're going to have to be logged in order to create projects because this saves projects under your account. You can click Create New Project, give your project a name. I'm going to call this one RPS, and then you can select a base theme out of all these that are available. I'm going to select Default and click Create. On the right, you'll see a live preview of all the components with the theme applied. You can see our default theme is applied to all the components that are available. And if we change something here, for example, the Kendo theme colors, let's say I'm going to select this one and make it purple for the primary color. You'll immediately see a preview of whatever changes you make here applied on the right. So whether you're changing colors or typography or sizes or anything else, the components that use those settings will be affected. In our case, you'll see that the primary color that was used by so many components is now purple. When you're done theming, you can click on Export, which will download a zip file with your theme. Go ahead and extract the zip archive and drill into the dist folder You have the option to use the Sass, or you can use the ready-made CSS. I'm going to go back to the application, and in the assets folder, I'm going to create a new folder called styles, and I'll add this RPS CSS file to that styles folder. And now our styles folder has rps.css, which I can now import. So I'm going to go to main.ts and import assets, styles, and then rps.css. I'll comment out the Kendo theme bootstrap, and now back in the application, you'll notice right away that we have a change in the theme. On the backlog page, you'll notice the pager is using the new purple links. We don't have a primary button, but I'm going to go to one of these items here, and you'll see that the estimate, which is using a slider, and that uses a primary color, that's also purple, and the tab strip is using purple links. And that's how you can apply a custom theme to your application. Kendo UI ships with a considerably large set of icons right out of the box. If you want to add icons to your application and icon fonts, you can just use one of the ones that comes with Kendo instead of fumbling around with third-party libraries like Font Awesome or iComoon or something like that. There are a couple of ways of applying Kendo icons to your application, and we've already seen one of them. Right here in our app on the dashboard page, we've added these calendar icons to our filter buttons, and that was simply a matter of just applying an attribute with the name of the icon that we want to use. Let's see this and another way that we can apply icons in our app. Let's head over to the documentation, and under styling and themes, head over to icons. This is a very long page, if you'll notice, and if you scroll down, you'll notice some methods for applying icons. But then after that, you'll have a list of icons in different categories. And as you can see, there's quite a lot of them. Now, as for our application, let's head over to the backlog page, and we'll add a button icon here to this add button. You can go ahead and try this for yourself as an exercise and use the documentation here to search for the icon that you want to use. Go ahead and try this. All right, now that you're back, let's go to the code, and under views, open up the backlog page, and very close to the top, you'll find the add button. That's this button right here. It's an HTML button at this time. We want to first convert this to a Kendo button. So the way I do that is I typically create a custom name for the component, such as Kendo button, which will need the click handler. That's the click handler that we already have on the button, and that'll stay the same. What we don't need is the type, because the Kendo button will know that it's a type button. We also don't need the class, so I'm going to remove those, and I'm going to terminate this Kendo button with the same component name. Now, we don't have the Kendo button mapped in our component here, so I'm going to need to import that. Let's import button, and that's coming from progress/Kendo view buttons. We've already done this before once, so I'm going to do this pretty quickly here. And in the components object, I'm going to map Kendo button to the button component. Good. Now this button is a Kendo button, and we want to determine what icon we want to use. Well, I'm going to go back to the documentation and that icon page, and I'm going to search this page for plus. Since we're doing an add action, plus is an appropriate icon, and we have 3 options available here. I'm going to use this plus circle icon. Now what's written underneath of that icon is the actual class name that you can use. And that's going to be important a little bit later in this lesson. But for now, if you want to apply the plus circle icon, you can omit the K-I-, that's just a prefix for Kendo icon, and use whatever's after that as the name of the icon you want to use. So plus circle. I'm going to copy that and head over to the backlog page again. Let's find that button at the top. And adding the icon is as simple as specifying icon and then plus circle. Back in our application, you will see that we do have that icon now. And that's how easy it was. You might also find the documentation using the binding syntax, and that's what we did before. You can use the binding syntax here as well, where you would bind the icon attribute and you'd bind that to the string plus circle. It'll have the same effect. Now let's head over to the details page. And since we're on the edit page, let's say I wanted to add an edit icon over here right before the title. And there is no component here. There is no Kendo button or any other Kendo component. So we need to use a standalone icon in this case. Well, how do we do that? Well, first of all, let's go find an icon that we want to use. And back on the icon documentation, I'm going to search for edit. Let's see. I like this one, the A with the little pencil. This one's called Edit Tools. Great. Let's go back to the code, and I'm going to close the backlog page and find the details page instead. Let's go find where we're rendering the title,
probably near the top. And yes, there it is. And I'm going to split this up into 2 lines. So we're still going to be inside the H1, but right before the title, I'm going to add a span with a class on it. And the class is actually going to be our icon class. So let's head back to the docs, and I'm going to use the entire icon class now, including the K-I. So I'm going to copy that class name and paste it in here. Of course, we don't need the period there. It's just K-I edit tools. Now, if we take a look, you'll see that it doesn't quite work like we expect. There is one more thing we need to add into the class list to get this working, and that's K-icon class. So this will allow us to use any icon freely anywhere in the application. We specify that this is going to be an icon and then what icon we want to use. And then if we go back to the app, you'll see that we do have that little A with a pencil edit icon before our title. So that's 2 ways that you can apply icons to your applications.
Congratulations, you finished the course. We've covered some basic and advanced components that you can use to develop your own applications. And you'll discover more as you continue learning. I'm glad you joined me on this journey of learning how to use the Kendo UI components and features. My name is Alex Ziskind. You can find me on Twitter. I'm @DigitAlex. And if you have any Kendo related questions, just send them my way. Thanks for watching the course, and I hope you enjoy using Kendo UI.